Hey everybody, Margaret here. I thought I'd, you know, make a video because I like the food and there's a lot of challenges, with my health right now when it comes to food, diabetes and I have some stomach issues that, I have to have specific foods, this and that, and um, just stuff like that, all pretty much revolving diabetes, high blood pressure, things like that. I need a lower sodium diet, stuff like that. Uh, Being inspired by that, and then being inspired by watching a lot of these older generations, these ladies and gentlemen, and they're in their 80s, and a lot of what they have in common is that they're in the kitchen and they're cooking all the time and they're making these delicious food, and they're slobbing on butter and using, a whole stick of butter, but they're all moving and grooving way better than I am, twice as old as I am, three times as old as I am. And, I'm really inspired by that. And they all have that in common. They're always cooking their food fresh for the most part. So, I wanted to kind of get into that and be inspired by that. Pause for editing. No,
Keep
we're gonna
going.
keep going. So I cooked dinner last night, but everybody ate the rice and beans that I made, and I made white rice and beans, Puerto Rican white rice and beans, and it was just hitting last night. So it went a little quicker than usually the last 2 days, but it went a little quicker. So I need to make some more because I made a whole lot of meat, and it needs some more rice and beans to go with it. So I wanted to share with you how I was taught how to make it from my mother-in-law, the kids' grandma, mommy, and she's very special to all of us, and just made the best food. And I had the privilege of learning a lot of things from her. And I'm not a terrible cook. I can cook other things than Puerto Rican food, but maybe I'll make some more videos. I like to make it a soup, make it a spaghetti. I like other food. I love food. So I thought I'd show you my rendition of rice and beans and go with it. Some of the things that you're gonna need is sofrito. You can make it yourself easy. Maybe I'll do a video on making that. I don't make it as much as I used to because Palmitas and they're in Hobart, they're the closest ones to how I make my own sofrito with the green peppers, the onion, the cilantro, and onion. Basic, that's the very, very basic. But I get mine at Palmitas now, and then it's already done and ready to go. And it lasts good, it freezes very well. Just make sure, just remember, it is a vegetable, it is all of those things, so it will go bad. But usually when you freeze it, it'll last for a while. So that's like your main staple thing. Tomato sauce, not tomato paste. I know some people use tomato paste. I can't bring myself to do it. Tomato sauce. And you need some pinto beans. I don't like to soak mine because, well, I just don't like to soak mine. It's so much easier in the can. So a can this size, I'll usually use up to like 3 small cans of tomato sauce. You need your Sazon. You're going to need a little bit of vegetable oil. You're going to need medium grain rice. Now, you can use whatever size rice you want, but I prefer medium grain rice. That's how I know what to cook. All the grains obviously cook different and for longer periods of time. And this is just how to make the white rice. When you get into making rice and gandules or any kind of other rice, when you start putting stuff in there, times and stuff change on how long you cook your rice. But I have a pretty foolproof way how to make rice pretty perfect every single time that has not really failed me too much. So I'll share that with you as well. So medium grain rice. And if I forgot anything, then we'll go along the way. These are the best to make rice in. I have made rice in other pots. People have made rice. Everybody who makes rice a lot usually have their favorite pot, but these ones really are the best, and they're pretty much made for making rice. The one that I would usually use is a medium-sized one, just a tiny bit bigger than this one, but that one has been returned to me yet. So, and then I got this big, huge hunka church picnic hunka rice thing. Obviously, that's no good for just regular dinner. So I like this one, and then I have a smaller one that I usually I'll make my beans in here. Okay, and so I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna get a little vegetable oil, and put a little vegetable oil on the bottom. There's gonna be not a lot of measuring. I'll do my best to guesstimate, but when you're cooking with love and you're not baking is when you kind of have to get into the science of things and measurements. But when you're cooking with love, it's all eyeball measurements, so you kind of just got to pay attention and give or take what to your taste. Once you get into it and you know the basics, you know how to break the rules, to bend them, to make it how you want it, when you know how it should be done with love first. Okay, so I'm going to start off there, and then I'm going to get me some rice. Now, here we go again with the eyeballing. I never measure my rice. I used to, everybody's going to wash their rice in a different way. No, Leela. I used to have a metal strainer, a metal strainer, and I knew how much rice I put in there, how much it would make every single time, and then I would just run it under the water, and then all the starch would come out. But I had to get rid of it, and I need a new one, but I just haven't gotten around to getting a new one yet. So I've been just doing the old-fashioned way, where you just get your rice. And like I said, it's all eyeball, because you're not going to need to measure, because the way that I do the water, you'll see, you don't need to measure. So, okay. So, got my rice in my bowl, and then we're going to go to the sink and wash the rice. Now, when you're just doing plain white rice, I usually do 3 run-throughs. When you're making rice and gandules, which I could make a video maybe potentially in the future, I find that you have to wash that twice as much. I don't know the science of it, I don't know the magic of it, but I feel like that rice turns out better when you wash it a little bit more extensive. But this one, usually I'll do like the 3 go-throughs, and I'm just going to put some water in there. And we're going to use our hands like any good old grandma is going to do. And we're going to switch it around, and you're going to see like all that starch in there or whatever. Now, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to lose some rice in the sink, and you're not going to be able to get all the water out, but that's okay. That's okay. And then let's go for another. A little swishy swish. And then strain that out. Try not to lose like all your rice. And then one more go. Swishy, swishy. And I washed my hands before all of this. And changed 10 diapers. And then started cooking. So, sanitation first, safety first. Diapers. diapers. What am I talking about? I don't have any diapers. Thank God. I'm so over that. God, that factory's closed. That kitchen's closed. Okay, so I'm washing my rice. Then I'm going to come over here, get my rice in the pot, and I put that vegetable oil in the bottom. Don't ask me the magic or the science, but it is what it is. That's how I learned, and it makes a good rice every time. So, put that in there, and now I'm going to turn this on while I start getting my water. And I'm going to turn it on high. And I'm just going to use this bowl to get water for my rice. So I can get these lasties, for one, that are in here. Okay. So here's the trick. I was watching TV one time, and this Asian dude that I watched back on Channel 11 on PBS one time said, here's the foolproof trick with cooking any kind of rice. Your first finger, the first line in your finger is like about an inch. Now, don't ask me the science with people with different size hands. It just is what it is. I'm sure his hands were not the same size as mine. However, it still works. And it's worked for other people too. You want to put your water in here. And then you put your finger in here. This is sanitation first, but you put your finger in here. When the top of your finger touches the top of the rice, make sure it's kind of even. When the water comes up to the first line in your hand, while you're touching the top of the rice flat in there, you have enough water. Should work every single time. When you start adding stuff to your rice, like with rice and gandules, say you put like meat in there or whatever, it's gonna change a little bit how the rice cooks or whatever. Other than that, any rice, any size rice that I've cooked, I've used that method for well over a decade now, and it's pretty foolproof. So, just like pasta or whatever, and you know, I am on a low salt diet to the best of my ability, but I still believe that you still need to salt your pasta and you still need to salt your rice for it to cook correctly. I have a certain expectation in how I want my food to taste, how it's supposed to be made. And I'm just going to do a little pinchy pinch salt. There, done. As long as there's something in there. You don't do nothing. Now, what you're going to do, I'm going to get that. That's just from the rice. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to put this on high. And then when the water and the rice meet and even out, and you have like these little pockets, you'll hear it, you'll smell it, you'll know when your rice is done. You leave it maybe 1 or 2, maybe 1 minute after it's level. And then when we get to that point, we'll start there. And we'll go from there, because then there's a little transition that goes on. So while I'm cooking my white rice, I'm going to start cooking my beans while this is going. So for the beans, let me get a spoon. Oh, all my good spoons are in the dishwasher. Lita, grab me a metal spoon, not slotted, from the dishwasher. You two go over there. Go to the dishwasher. I need my rice spoons. Aha. Okay. Let you guys catch up and get back over here. Okay, so I already put my vegetable oil in here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to saute and cook our sofrito a little bit. And then we're going to add our tomato sauce and cook the tomato sauce a little bit to get that canned tomato taste cooked out of there, and all the flavors and stuff all sauteing together. I like the flavor of the sofrito. I'm very heavy with sofrito in my beans, and that's how everybody likes it here. I haven't had any complaints, so that's how we do. And don't buy that stuff, that Goya stuff that's in the jar. It's gross. So I'm going to put this on low to saute. And I'm going to put a good, for that size can, I'm going to put a good 2 scoopings and a little zhuzh of water. 2 little zhuzhes of water. And then once I get this going, I'm still going to add probably another scoop at some point after even this is like cooking up. Because that's the whole flavor profile of this, and I like it very forward dominant. Okay, and then sometimes I'll use like 1.5 of the Goya packets for this size stuff, so we're gonna get that in there too. I'll just go ahead. I'm feeling saucy, a little extra flavor. I'm just gonna use both packets because why not? These packets are, we'll get into discussing these, but this is like, you put this on everything, it's like, makes everything yummy. Everything yummy. So, another thing, just always make sure that you have pot holders, especially when you're using these kind of pots, because the handles, they get hot. So I'm going to stir this all up. Get it mixed up in here. We're going to get it sauteing or whatever. And while that's sauteing, then we're going to come back over here. We're going to open up our pintos because we got to drain this sucker because we don't want all that thick, yucky starch in our beans. Go to the sink, leave the lid on, your classic draining vegetables from a can type dealing. Just do the best you can, getting most of it out. Okay, and then we bring it to the table. All right. So let's see, that's ready to go. And then I'm going to start opening up my cans of tomato sauce with Mommy's can opener, the one that she used every single day. I have a lot of her kitchen things. Her spirit is alive and well in my kitchen. And I'm just going to do one of these. With all of these guys. Lid on the sofrito. I'm going to give this a stir. We're cooking, we're sauteing, we're cooking. How's it smell, girls?
Good.
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 Good. Leela is running the camera work here. My daughter, she's going to be making films. Well, she does make films. And another reason why I want to do this video is just to have a wonderful excuse to be creative with my daughters. We got Hannah on lights behind her. Do something fun and creative. We like to do that kind of stuff. And get kumbaya up in here with this shit because we like it. That's how we do. Usually we'd have music. I grew up in that time where Mom put music on when it was time to clean the fucking house. Ooh, that's gonna happen to you every once in a while, by the way. You know, and music's very motivating in here, and lots of times when I cook, I like the music going on. I like to be shaking my butt in the kitchen and boogieing down and getting down in the kitchen while I'm cooking. Okay, so this is going. It's sizzling. It's smelling good. This and that. I'm gonna add just a pinch of salt. Not a whole lot because this tomato has salt in it. I don't think they salt their sofrito there at Palmitos though. So I'm gonna add just a little bit, a few pinches, a little zhuzhes to that. Oh, and I forgot to grab my cumin. My cumin. I like to add a little. Where you go? Where'd you go?
Is it on the right side?
No, I just. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Just a smidge. Cumin, you have to be very careful with cumin because it is a spice bully. Just a smidge. Just a little shaky. A couple little shakies. Not a whole lot. Okay, I'm going to get that in there. And now I'm going to add my tomato sauce and let that cook for just a few. Like I said, just to get that canned taste out of there and let it integrate with all the natural vegetable flavors and all the spices and stuff. And yes, I will be adding water to my beans because I'm not making tomato sauce. I'm just making beans. I don't want to make spaghetti sauce. Ugh. See, now I can already tell by the color I want it a little browner. And I gotta smell it. And I can smell the tomato. It's sweet. It's a sweet smell. So I know that I always end up adding like a little bit more sofrito. Especially since I'm going to be adding water to this. See how it's got a little bit browner on there. Let me smell. And I'm just looking so I could smell the sofrito over the tomato. Like, I still don't mind smelling the tomato, but I don't want this to be a tomato sauce. I don't want the tomato to bully the sofrito. I want the sofrito to shine. Alright, so I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Just to smooth this sauce out. Because right now it has that texture, velvety texture that comes with the tomatoes. But I'm still going to use the tomato cans because why waste? And that's going to smooth that out so it's not so tomatoey. Our rice, come on the other side of me because our rice is getting to that point. Okay, so I added the water. I don't know if you can see on the camera how it kind of changed the texture a little bit by adding the water. So we're going to let this cook. I'm going to turn this up. Get it to a slight boil, a slight simmer. Let that cook for a minute. Now you can hear the rice. Come in close so you can hear it. You're kind of whistling at you. And you can see like the little bubble things. Okay, this is when, and the water is like underneath and it's been kind of like a minute. You're going to turn this all the way down. In fact, this burner is a little stronger of a burner, so I'm going to put it on the back burner. And you want to turn it all the way down to low. This is going to be the only time that you stir your rice, and it's not even a stir, it's more of a flip. And you want to leave it alone. Don't second guess yourself. Don't get all kinds of crazy, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with mushy rice. So this is what I do. You want to get in there and by sections. Scoop and flip. 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 If you got a bigger pot and you got some in the middle, do a little scoopity scoop in the middle. Level it back out the best you can, but don't play with it. It's just a couple of shakes. Any more than a couple of shakes, you're playing with it, and you don't want you don't want to do that to your rice. And this is detrimental. That's why these pans are so good for rice and why they're kind of made for rice, because it's all about the seal. You want to make sure that your lid is the lid that goes to the pot and there's a good seal to there. Okay, and then I'm going to put it on the back burner here, and it's going to go on low. I have no time frame to tell you when this is going to be done. You're just going to have to feel it, and then the way I check my rice, I stick my finger in there and get a pinch of rice. I eat a pinch of rice. If it's done, it's done. If it's not, I'll need to put it back on there for a few more until it's done. Every once in a while, especially in the beginning when you're learning how to cook rice, you might have to add a little bit of water to it, before you get the hang of it, because it does take some practice, a little bit, I think, to make rice properly. But once you get it, you got it. This thing. Okay, so I'm gonna give this sass a little stir, and then I'm gonna add the beans. It's beans time.